said you need to have a Heisman candidate caliber quarterback to be QB1 at Ohio State. Mark says you only need a top 15 quarterback. Which is it? And then, of course, I'm being taken out of context. I could explain later. But, Tony, your take.
Well, I don't know that we've ever said that you need to have a Heisman caliber candidate quarterback. It's just that when you are the starting quarterback at Ohio State and you play in Ryan Day's offense, that equates to being a Heisman candidate. Like it's the chicken comes before the egg here. Like you don't. It's not a requirement at Ohio State, but it's a byproduct. It's what they want from it. And so, yeah, I don't think I think it's the offense that creates the Heisman candidate. And granted, and I don't even think you need a guy who can be a Heisman candidate. I think you need, more important than that, you need a quarterback that can beat the top defenses in the nation. Justin Fields was that. Dwayne Haskins maybe was that. JT Barrett wasn't that. And JT Barrett would have been a Heisman finalist his freshman year, his redshirt freshman year in 2014, had he not gotten injured. And so I don't – the Heisman thing is – we all talk sports, so I don't want to say it's a complete farce. It's not important. It's a complete farce. But, if you're a top 5, top 10 team in a national title hunt, you have a quarterback that throws for a bunch of yards, then you are going to be in the Heisman picture. That's just how college football is now. I would think that any Heisman voter who hasn't voted for a defensive player at least twice in the last 10 years should have their votes revoked. They should not be allowed to vote.
I voted for Chase Young. Does that count?
Exactly. So, and a lot of people should have.
Can I keep my vote?
You can keep your vote, Steve. But
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's some straw man stuff going on with this argument, and it's not the candidate. It's the quarterback putting up the stats that creates the candidate.
Well stated. I don't know where I have to take this discussion that's been going on for months with buyers here. I basically stated that it was a ridiculous expectation to say that C.J. Stroud or any first-year Ohio State quarterback who had never thrown a pass, whoever would have won that job, to be a quote-unquote Heisman candidate, which I guess translates to you're one of the top 2 or 3 quarterbacks in the country right out of the gate against Minnesota. Boom, hit the ground running. You're one of the 2 or 3 best quarterbacks. You're Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields. Right now, that was an unreal expectation, that was unrealistic. That was my point. And that Ohio State could put a top 15 quarterback out on the field and win the Big Ten and go to the playoff. That was basically my statement.
And Ohio State has done that before. They've done it with JT Barrett. They've made the playoffs with JT Barrett starting as the quarterback, and he was a top 15 quarterback, but he didn't have the ability to even score against Clemson in 2016.
Was Craig Krenzel a Heisman candidate?
He was not, Kevin. He was not. But that was
not.
He played like a champion. He took some hits like I haven't seen since the old 15-round boxing days. But and I know the game's very different now than it was back in 2000 Dickety 2. I mean, it's very, but I think that I think it's somewhere in the middle. I don't think you have to be a top 2 or 3. I don't know if top 15, that might be a little too wide of a range, but I'm not here to pile on Mark. It's his show after all. But, I think you need to be at least a top 7 or 8 national type of guy for your team to really, outside of catching lightning in a bottle.
But again, I was marrying that top 15 quarterback with Ohio State talent against the Big Ten. That was my only claim. They can win the Big Ten, go to the playoff with a top 15 quarterback. Buyers, will give you Eric Crouch. You want him as a Heisman winner, he can run your offense, and you can win, 6 games. There you go.
That's cool. That's quite an extrapolation. You're just saying you can win the Big Ten and go to the playoffs, and then somebody else equating that to winning it all. Ohio State could win the Big Ten with Chris Chuganoff playing quarterback.
Yeah.
doesn't mean he's going to beat Alabama or Georgia.
Yeah, labels like all this really don't matter. It's all about just winning football games. And I get what the question is about is, do you have to have one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the country to win the Big Ten and qualify for the playoff? It certainly helps. Let's just say that, but it's not necessarily required. My goodness. I mean, you know, if you want to win it all, you better be awesome at the quarterback position. That's what I've seen, you know, from Joe Burrow. The kid from Alabama last year was amazing. You know, Ohio State had great quarterback play the year that they won it, from Barrett and Jones both. Even though people thought Barrett was just a caretaker, and go back and look at his stats. I mean, I think he put up like 40 some touchdowns or something, 30 passing and 11, 12. Yeah. Some outrageous. He set a record, I think. So I don't know. Again, labels and Heisman candidate and everything, it's all, in the eye of the beholder. I mean,